The Pentel P200 series mechanical pencils are probably the best mass-produced mechanical pencils in the world. Here we have the Pentel P209. This is the 0.9mm version and my personal favorite. At the writing end, you'll find a well-constructed machine tip that is tough and narrows down nicely for use against a ruler. It is made out of brass and is probably nickel-plated. As we move down to the eraser end, you'll find a finger grip on the molded plastic body, which generally I find uncomfortable, and a formed pocket clip that I never use. At the end, there's the deep-drawn metal eraser cover. At a cost of around $7, you really can't beat the price. They are pretty much bulletproof and are very well built. I've never worn one out, and I've only had to replace one because I lost it. All isn't roses with this design though. Like most mechanical pencils, the eraser is terrible and you can't replace it. It also doesn't really erase, more like smudge. Unthreading the tip and removing the body, the cartridge remains. Now many Kickstarter titanium pencils have used this cartridge as a base for their mechanical pencil design. I think that's sort of cheating. The clip is pressed on and is easily removed. The tapered plastic body is injection molded. The body is a tapered dodecagon. That is, it has 12 sides, and yes, I did have to look that up. The cartridge consists of a plastic lead holding tube pressed onto the brass feeding mechanism. Now, a question, how do they make and sell this for $7 and still make a profit? The brass feeding mechanism contains an intricately made 3-finger collet setup, much like the collet you would find in a milling machine or lathe. The press joint between the plastic lead tube and the brass feeding mechanism is what retains the return spring. Removing the plastic body requires destruction of the pencil. A few well-placed cuts and appropriately applied band-aids will remove it. At this point, the spring is no longer constrained, and you can take the brass feeding mechanism apart. The feeding mechanism is actually made up of 4 parts. You will see all 4 as we take it apart. There is the rear brass tube, where the feeding plastic tube is pressed onto, the collet, the nut portion, and inside the nut there is a small sleeve. The collet and the rear brass tube are 2 pieces that are formed together. The collet can rotate freely from the brass tube. I'm not exactly sure why they did this. Is it for manufacturing purposes or to keep the lead from breaking? The end of the nut is formed to constrain a sleeve. This sleeve is what makes the pencil click. To remove the collet and rear brass tube assembly from the nut, and to get at the sleeve, the rolled over portion needs to be removed. A quick job with the file and you can disassemble the feeding mechanism into its components. Here is the joint between the collet and the rear brass tube. You can see it looks a different color where they form the collet onto the tube. How did they machine these brass components? My best guess is they were machined on a Swiss-style CNC lathe, maybe something like a Citizen L12. Want to waste a few hours watching amazing CNC machine videos on YouTube? Just search for Citizen Swiss CNC. Well, there you have it, the Pentel P209 teardown for some inspiration in how to design my titanium pencil. Dodeca parts in total, that is 12. I knew I should have paid more attention in geometry class. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for the Staedtler micro teardown coming soon, plus some machining videos as well.